Hello guys, good morning. Good morning. Please, if you can hear me, just type in the comment section. Let me be sure you can hear me before we proceed. Good morning, good morning, good morning. If you can hear me, just drop a comment. Let me be sure that you can hear me. All right, guys, good morning. You're welcome back to our live session, and if you're new to this live session, I especially welcome you to our synthetic indices live session. What we do here is that we just come together and then we make analysis on some assets and see how far we can go, and we've been doing that for a couple of months now, and absolutely we've been able to produce good results, reviews from people saying this enlightens them and then has been changing their look towards the market. So if you are new here, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, and of course if you've been a constant subscriber, just do not forget to like this broadcast and also share it to your friends. Okay, so I'm Synthetic Goddess, and I'm going to be teaching today. I'm going to be talking about the live session today. We're going to be talking about some particular assets today. Now, if you have any assets you want us to analyze, drop it in the comment section. I'm going to be picking 2 to 3 most mentioned assets, and I'm going to be making analysis on them. But first, I'm going to start with one. By the time I am done with that one, drop the ones you want me to analyze in the comment section. Then I'm going to pick 2 to 3 to make analysis on. So I'm going to be starting with one that I've been looking at from yesterday. I've been looking at it since yesterday, and I'm going to be making analysis on it, which is volatility 10-1s. But before we go to volatility 10-1s, let us look at volatility 10 that I dropped the analysis on the group. Personally, I just checked it this morning, and then I found out that it is really playing out. So let us just check it and see where we can proceed with the continuation and see how far we can go with it. Now, I dropped the sell setup, right? And let me just make an analysis on it, just a quick analysis. We had our last break of structure, and of course market took out a change of character we were not expecting it to take out, so which is on 2 hours time frame. Of course, since we have our break of structure to the downside, what we are expecting is for market to proceed to the downside. We're expecting to look for a sell continuation to the downside. So what I just did was that I marked this particular high as my liquidity. I marked it as a liquidity, and of course, on this channel we are definitely not going to work with the market except we see the liquidity, the possible liquidity it is taking. So the next thing I did was that I marked out this was also an inducement that was already taken, which obviously means that this particular high, this high here, this high here is a major. It is a major. So we marked out this point of interest. This is a point of interest for us. And since that is a point of interest for us, of course, we're not going to work with point of interest except we have a change of character. So there was a change of character here. We had a change of character here. And all I was expecting market to do was to come back and fill up this fair value gap, that we had here. And this fair value gap actually carried an interest candle on the 30 minutes time frame. This fair value gap on the 2 hours time frame that you are seeing here was actually an interest candle on the 30 minutes time frame, which is more of a good confirmation for us. See what I am trying to say here, which is more of a good confirmation for us. This is the interest candle. You can see that interest candle over there. And of course, if you check the 2 hours time frame that we just left, it is actually a fair value gap, but on 30 minutes it is an interest candle, which gives us more confirmation that this PO high is likely to be used. So you can see that market came back there and it gave us what we call a change of character again, which showcases to us that that point of interest is likely to hold. So this is a change of character to the downside. Our market did this sort of retracement back into this zone, which is also an interest candle in its way. It came back to that zone and then we started pulling to the downside. So where is the possible place I am likely to continue my sell setup? Let's check. If I check the 1 hour time frame, is there a possible place I can continue my sell setup? Of course, we have fair value gap here. You can see the fair value gap there. So it is very, very possible for market to come back into this zone. And then we push to the downside again. So where is our target? If I am going to be entering the sell from here, this low is going to be my first target. If I am going to be entering the sell from here, then this low is going to be my second target. This is going to be my first target and this is going to be my overall target. So what am I looking at on volatility 10? I'm just expecting market to do something like this. I'm expecting market to do something like this, then give me a push to the downside. This is the current continuation I am expecting in the market. But if you guys checked the analysis I dropped on the Telegram channel, if you're not on the Telegram channel, you can click the link in the description to join the Telegram channel. If you check the analysis I dropped on the Telegram channel, you can see that it was this point of interest I marked as, but this is just like a continuation area for us to continue that same setup that I dropped. So this is not a total new setup, it is just a continuation of the setup that was already dropped. And you can see that we have this fair value gap here, confirming that it is very, very possible for us to come back to this zone for a sell continuation to target this low. And of course, if you see any other thing that confirms your entry, maybe that confirms your own personal strategy, you can go ahead with it. But for now, I am going to be looking out for a sell continuation on volatility 10. Now let's look at the second one that I was talking about, which is volatility 10-1S. All right, on volatility 10-1S, of course, we definitely want to start from the 24 hours time frame to see what the 24 hours time frame is doing. And on 24 hours time frame, it is very, very obvious that we are pulling to the downside for now. As much as we had our change of character to the upside here, but we are not really going to mind what is happening on the left hand side. We will concentrate on the present moment, which is the current move of the market. That is what we're going to concentrate on. So what is the current move of the market? We had our last break of structure to the downside. That is what the current move of the market is saying, especially on this 24 hours time frame. Our last break of structure is to the downside, which is this is a break of structure to the downside. First thing first, what I am expecting is for market to come back to this fair value gap area, which is this zone. And if you see this fair value gap area, it is very large. So I was expecting the market would come back to this zone. However, on this particular time frame, I found out that our liquidity is actually this high. This high is our liquidity. This high is the liquidity. So sometimes when we have a closed liquidity and market does some change of character, most times it is likely we do not come back to that fair value gap for now. Market is just going to pull down, and probably after breaking this low we can have some move to the upside again, then we continue to the downside. This is a deep corrective wave. This is what we call deep corrective wave. However, we're just going to follow the current move of the market. So this is 2 hours time frame. I'm going to go to 2 hours time frame and see what the market is currently doing on the 2 hours time frame. Now, one thing I want you to take note of is that after market took out our liquidity, it did something. We had a change of character, and most times when market takes out my change of character, especially after taking liquidity, I find it very incredible and I find it very useful to look at a continuation either to the upside or to the downside in whatever the structure is. So we had our change of character to the downside. This is a change of character. So absolutely, this change of character is a signal to us that something is about to shift. And after this change of character happened, I just looked at a possible area for continuation of the market, for the sell continuation, because of course I want to look for a sell continuation based on the change of character that has happened there until market proves me otherwise. So I just looked out for areas where market could use for a possible sell continuation after this change of character, and I found out that we actually had a fair value gap here. There is a fair value gap here. There's a fair value gap here. So making this particular candle more of a great candle for us to use for our continuation. So this is it here. So since we had market come back to this zone, what is the next thing we will do? So let's go to 30 minutes time frame. Of course, I make use of 30 minutes also. So this is 30 minutes time frame, and when market got to that point of interest, you can see that we had our change of character again, which is a signal to us that something is about to change in the market, right? All of this zone were taken out as liquidity, so I'm just going to mark this out as change of character. Then I'm expecting market to come back to this point of interest. This is my point of interest here. From this week up to this high is my point of interest. Before I woke up this morning, before I checked the chart this morning, I found out that market has already gotten there and it is selling impulsively. So what is the next thing I will do? Of course, I'm not going to just sit down there and mourn and mourn my loss. So I'm just going to wait for market to break this low. After this low is broken, once this low is broken with a full body candle, the next thing I'm just going to be waiting for is for market to, after this break, I can just expect some little push to the downside. Then I'm going to expect it to come back here, because this place has been filled, this fair value gap has been filled as it. Okay, we still have that fair value gap there. There's still fair value gap there, so it is still possible for market to come as high as this, then start pushing to the downside. So this is what I am waiting for. I'm coming, guys. This is a fair value gap here, right? Fair value gap, that's still a fair value gap. So this low has been absolutely broken. The next thing I'm waiting for is to see that intention for a retracement. Quote me, guys, I want to see intention for a retracement, because if there is no intention for a retracement, trust me, the market is still going to be pulling down until we have the break of this low, and you will just be waiting in vain. So I want to see, since this low has been broken with a body candle, let this body candle close right below it. I'm going to wait for an intention for our retracement. once I get the intention for a retracement, because of course you don't want to be jumping into the market here. You don't want to be jumping. Your stop loss is going to be very, very wide, very wide, and your take profit is going to be very, very small. So after market has broken this low, the next thing we want to wait for is a retracement and a continuation. So this is our total target. For me, this is my total target. I want to see market pulled down until this low is taken. All these lows is taken. Fine, market might not come back to take this low immediately, because sometimes we might have what we call hunt of liquidity, but I'm expecting it to take all this low as liquidity, even if any hunt of liquidity is going to happen. So all these lows are where I am currently targeting. So I just want to look for a sell continuation to target all of these lows that has been created here as liquidity. I hope that is clear. So that is my view currently on volatility 10-1s. I just want us to get a particular asset that it is possible that we enter either the sell or the buy. So I'm going to be making analysis for volatility 101s. About 2 people has mentioned that if you want me to make analysis on any asset, drop it in the comments. Let me see your comments in the comment section, and we are going to pick 1 or 2 to make analysis on. So the first one I'm going to be going for, the one mentioned in the group or in the comment section, is volatility 101s. So volatility 101s. All right, 24 hours time frame, of course. We are starting from the 24 hours time frame. So it is very, very obvious that we are in a downtrend. And since we are in a downtrend, let's see what the market is currently doing. So we have the break. We had another break. Market came back to give us change of character. Change of character. But that change of character does not mean market wants to start pulling to the upside, of course, until we have a new break of structure. But this change of character has happened, so we have to be careful around what we are doing in this market, because I think I am always saying that when a change of character happens, it is like a state of confusion, especially for synthetic indices. You can't really tell what the market is doing. Maybe it wants to continue to the upside, or it is using that change of character as liquidity. So for me, I'm just going to look at what market is currently doing. Okay, where it is reacting from is not really a good area for me. This place is not a good area of reaction. It is not a good area of reaction, but you can see that market is reacting there. Market is currently reacting at that area. So if there is any area of reaction, I would be expecting market to take or to make use of is after it takes this high. All this area are good area for sell continuation. However, market might not get there. Assuming we have access to weekly time frame on trading view, I would have gone to weekly time frame to see what market is currently doing, because it is going to give us more clarity on what is happening in the market right now. Weekly time frame is going to save us a whole lot of things, but since we do not have access to it, let's just make do with what we have access to right now. So you can see that We have that change of character to the upside. And where do we have our last break of structure? This is not the last break of structure. You can see that it was swept with a wick. So this was the last break of structure. This is the last break of structure. This is possible. This is a possible inducement. So let's go to our 4 hours time frame. 4 hours time frame. All right, so this is what I am expecting. The only low that can confirm that we want to start pulling to the downside is when market breaks this low for me. That is what is going to confirm to me that we're going to be pulling to the downside. But since this is our last internal break of structure and this is a possible liquidity, this is what I am expecting. I'm expecting market to pull down as much as possible to come back to this zone, then we continue to the upside. Or market reacts at this zone, breaks this structure, then come back, then we have a sell continuation. But we can't predict what market will do, so let's work with what market is currently doing. So let's go to our 2 hours time frame and see where we can get either a sell continuation or a buy continuation. So market came back to this area. We had a change of character. This area is a good area of reaction. So this is what I am expecting. This is a change of character here. This was the high created after the change of character. And that's even an equal high. So I'm expecting market to come back to this candle. I'm expecting market to come back to this candle, something like this. This move that is currently happening, I want to see it above this high. Then we'll move to the downside. Then your total target is going to be this low. This particular low, this low we marked out as our possible inducement until market gives you a reason to continue to the downside. But currently, from what market is doing, I'm looking for a sell continuation at this interest candle. This is what I am currently on the outlook for on volatility 100-1s. So let's go to the next asset. So let's do volatility 75. Volatility 75. 24 hours time frame. All right, from the current move of the market, this low is the target. So let's see where we had our last break of structure. Our last break of structure happened here. Every other places has been filled, so we are expecting market to just come back here. We don't expect market above any of these highs. We are not really expecting it yet until market, except if market wants to push for a buy continuation. But for now, we are not expecting it above any of that high. So what are we going to look out for? Let's go to 4 hours time frame. All right, so we have our break of structure to the downside. This is the possible liquidity I'm looking out for market to take. Then my POI. This is very simple. So until except market wants to start a buy continuation, that is when I want to see it above any of this high. However, a minute please. Let's check the 2 hours time frame and see if this our POI is actually a good point. All right, it actually is, because we have a value gap, so I'm expecting market to just come back to this zone and of course give a change of character that will prove to me that we want to continue the sell setup. But based on this trend line liquidity, I can't really say what market is going to do, but I'm not expecting it to break any of those highs if truly it wants to continue that sell. I'm not expecting any of this high to be broken yet, so I just want to see a sell continuation from this area. So let's look at the last one, which is volatility 50. That's the last asset we're going to be doing for today. If you have any questions, start dropping it in the comment section. Let's start treating questions. 24 hours time frame. All right, our last break of structure is to the downside apparently. Break of structure. Of course, I would be expecting markets to react at this fair value gap because of that distance and momentum. So this is the POI I'm expecting market to react from, right from here. I don't expect it to go above that high. So let's check the 2 hours time frame. Beautiful. The 2 hours time frame. We're expecting it at this PO high, and the low we are not expecting it to currently break is this low. When this low is broken, markets might not even get back to that point of interest. So let's mark out this low we are not expecting it to break. So for now, on volatility 50, we need a sell continuation, either coming back to this PO high or breaking this low. Then we look for a sell continuation after the break of that low. I'm not even looking out for any buy section. I'm not looking for any buy move right now because there is no suitable PO high for that buy move. All I am seeing is just looking out for a sell continuation. So it is either market comes back to this PO high, but if it does not have the strength to come back to this PO high, the reason I am giving the option of that change of character is because you can see that after this break of structure, markets gave us long distance and momentum. We had distance and momentum, so sometimes markets would not have that strength to come back to that PO high again. It will just use probably the breaker for continuation, just break that change of character. This thing happened on volatility 31s. You can check my analysis of 31s inside my channel. You can check it on the channel. I gave 2 analyses, and then I said either market comes back to that PO high or we have a break of that change of character, and immediately market took that change of character. In fact, let's check it, because sometimes markets won't have that strength to go back to your point of interest, not in any way. This was the analysis I made, and what I was expecting, you can see that we had this change of character here, and after this break you can see that impulse and you can see that distance and momentum, and I was expecting it to come back to this point of interest, breaking all this high, breaking these 2 highs. And I made a statement, I sent it to the channel, you can check it. I said, based on where market is currently reacting from, if anything makes us have this change of character here, this particular low, if this low is broken, I guess yes, I said if this low is broken, then just expect us to have a sell continuation, because that is just a means of market telling you that the strength is not there to go back to this zone based on that impulse and momentum that happens. So that's the same thing that we are expecting on volatility 50. Based on the move currently happening, market might not have the strength to get back into this PO high. We might just have this change of character. So once this change of character can happen, I'm expecting a good sell continuation to the downside. So that is that on volatility 50. If you have any question about the analysis we've done so far, drop it in the comment section. Let us treat questions. And also, how was today live session, guys? How was today live analysis? Drop your comments in the comment section. Let us talk. All right, I have a question here. Please, if we have trending liquidity and markets are clearing its downside, will the last trend line be taken out or protected? I'm trying to understand this question. Please, if we have trending liquidity, okay, and markets are clearing its downside, will the last trend line be taken out or protected? With the last trend line. Honestly, I'm trying to understand this particular question that this person dropped here. If we have a trending liquidity and markets are clearing its downside, will the last trend line be taken out or protected? First, what is trending liquidity? I don't really think there is anything called trending liquidity. A liquidity is just liquidity in a trending structure, perhaps, right? Is that what you mean? Perhaps you want to say trending liquidity in a trending structure. All right, the truth about trend line is the fact that markets just follows structure systematically. Sometimes trend lines are often not respected on synthetic. Sometimes. Now you might see some that will be respected, but most times for me, market does not respect trend line. And the truth is, what market respects most often is what we call inducement. Once market takes out that inducement, you will see that drop. Or market, if it is in a downtrend, you will see that drop just after the inducement market is seeking after. If market is seeking out a particular inducement, once it is taken, you will see that push to the downside. So most times on synthetic indices, what I have come to understand is that market seeks after a particular inducement, and once it is taken, it is taken. Now for trend line works alongside with structure, and if structure is in place, then of course the trend line will be protected. But if structure is not in place, trust me, that trend line, in fact more than the trend line, will be broken. Market is just going to come back and then push to the direction it wants to push to. So trend line should work in alignment with market structure. If market structure is in place, then trend line is just there, it would be protected if structure is in place. But if structure is not in place, trust me, the trend line is, that is when you find out that, oh, market respected this trend line was taken out. It is most often because structure is not in place. Do you understand? Okay, immense trend line liquidity. Okay, please, if we have trend line liquidity and okay, with the last trend line be taken out or protected. Of course, if market is taking the trend line liquidity, just like I said, if it is not in alignment with structure, if market is taking it down, all those trend line will be cleared. It definitely will be cleared, especially when structure is not in place. I hope I have been able to answer your question now. All right, guys, if we do not have any question, that is going to be the all for today live session. Have an amazing day ahead, guys.